Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a lovely 2022 300-piece limited edition from Audemars Piguet based on the 2021 redesign. This is the Royal Oak Offshore Diver. 42 millimeters in white gold with ceramic bezel. This is a blindingly bright high horology diver from Le Brassus. So 42 millimeters in diameter by 14.3 millimeters thick from lug to lug. The case is 54 millimeters, but if we include these outer links, which are rigid and can't be compressed, the total distance across the wrist is 58.7 millimeters. Now we'll zoom out a little bit, put it on my wrist. I can actually wear this. Now this is a big watch, make no mistake. I wouldn't recommend it for a wrist smaller than mine. I think you do need a 16 centimeter circumference wrist or larger to wear this. Now my arm is a lot bigger than it looks in these videos, so there's an exaggeration of the size of the watch, but take my word for it, it is both large and massive, but it will fit on a wrist of 16 or larger. It's probably not going to fit under a cuff though. You can see this is a really tall watch, and it is a sheer watch, so it's a wonderfully broad timepiece and a tall, abrupt case. Taking a quick look at the strap, it is a rubber strap, vulcanized with a matte finish. You can see there's some character lines molded in as well as on the outer flank. The nice attention to detail is you can see the bevel of the lug continues into the flank of the strap. Strap is held on using screws and bars. This is the old school way of doing it. That said, there is a way to quick release, as the latest generation of Royal Oak Offshores features a double push button release system. So while the anchoring may technically be screws and bars, you do have that push button if you want to quickly remove, clean this off, or even swap to a different strap. AP, and in all likelihood, the AP serving aftermarket, will have plenty of replacement options for you, and then it just snaps right back into place like that. Now, having a tool-free strap removal system doesn't help you if you can't remove the buckle from the strap after removing the strap from the case. So you have this little system where the edge of the buckle pivots up, unlocks a slider, and then you can pull the strap out of the buckle and you can relock it just like that. The buckle is made of white gold, and you can see it's a combination of media blasting on the underside, polishing on its outer face, and then satination across the top. So a lot of attention to detail for a minor component, but AP leaves no detail overlooked. Every stone is turned. Now, I will mention something about AP white gold. AP is one of the few haute horlogerie brands that still uses either a rhodium or a palladium coating on top of white gold. Normally, white gold is not this blindingly bright. This looks like platinum, which leads me to believe it is plated with a member of the platinum family, and I have no doubt about this. Now, normally, people hear rhodium-plated white gold, they think cheap ersatz, milky yellow color stuff underneath, you know, glitterati caliber white gold. This is not that. This is not for folks to show off at Muscle Beach. This is actually a deliberate intent to create a blindingly bright contrast to the darkness of the dial and the ceramic of the bezel. So AP is doing this with intent. Obviously, they can afford gray gold like JLC and Patek, but they're doing this because they want their white gold to read blindingly white, like platinum, in contrast to dark elements included in the design of the watch. And that's a valid design decision, as long as you've got a reason for rhodium plating, an aesthetic reason, and not just because it lets you use cheap white gold. I consider that to be valid. Now, taking a quick look at the case, you can see we have satin finish on the flanks, we have polish on the bevels. That's a nice contrast. I should also mention one other thing. A rhodium plating can be restored, so if it does scratch, it can always be replated when the watch goes in for service. Okay, we also have micro beveling that's easy to miss but present. Take a look at the edge of the crown guards. You could see it there, and then on both top and bottom, there's micro beveling. The crown is ceramic shouldered, and you can see it has a polished outer face and then satin finished shoulders. It has a hexagonal form which matches the hexagonal stainless steel bolts in the bezel. A lot of elements from the original 1972 Gerald Gent Royal Oak are here. Of course, Emmanuel Guet, then in his 20s, designed the Royal Oak Offshore in the early 1990s as a 20th anniversary tribute to the Royal Oak. Most people loved it. Gerald Gent hated it, but then again, that is what old men will do. Get off my lawn, right? This watch is a classic, however, as the original case size, the 42 millimeters, has proven to be incredibly enduring. We have a ceramic bezel that includes both a satin outer face and then a transitional face in black polish. The top has a vertical satin finish, just like the metal bezels do, and the bezel, of course, was inspired back in 1972 by a vintage diving helmet. That's where that comes from. We have another hexagonal ceramic shouldered crown up at 10 o'clock, and we unscrew it, and then we can manipulate the internal unidirectional rotating dive bezel. This is an ISO 6425 diver, and now that I've lined up my bezel with the minute hand, I can time my dive, or I can time whatever I might wish to track, whether it's the time between meetings, time remaining until I start my flight and I need to be at the terminal gate, or perhaps time while I cook. Whatever you time, a diving bezel is the solution. Often easier to read and more intuitive than a chronograph without the downstream service costs of a chronograph. Let's do a Lume Shot. As you can see, despite the ecru lume that's used, the watch is quite luminescent. You'll also appreciate that the bezel is fully luminescent and easy to track, so through all 360 degrees. We have all three hands loomed, which means the second hand is visible in the dark, and I think that should be universal on dive watches, but for some reason it isn't. We have a Mega Tapisserie, or large hobnail dial base, and it is stamped and then lacquered to create this gloss finish. We have all applique indices. Underneath the case back, we can see a new generation of movement. This was one of the features included in the redesign of the Offshore divers in 2021. You can see this is part of a 300-piece limited edition, but we have a new caliber, the 4302. Now, whereas the original caliber 3120 in the Royal Oak Offshore diver with display case back, there was a JLC before, but the first display case back Offshore diver included the Audemars Piguet 3120, but that movement was only 26.6 millimeters in diameter. This one is 32 millimeters in diameter, so it better fills the case back. Now, it's an automatic winder. You get an extra 10 hours of power reserve. It was 60. It's now 70. We also get a higher beat rate. It was 6 beats per second. It is now 8, making it potentially more accurate. We have a bidirectional winding system for smoothness and then ceramic rotor bearings for low maintenance and efficiency. We have a stop seconds function for hacking. We have a quick set for the date, and then we have a full balance bridge with a free-sprung Gyromax style balance for precise adjustment, but also great stability against shock. It's a good-looking movement, though, like most from Audemars Piguet, it includes a judicious combination of hand finishing and then machine finishing. So you can see a little bit of both here, and that's appropriate given the price point of the watch. It's a 40 joule movement, and once again, inside this case, it is water-resistant down to 300 meters, and it is a no-holds-barred professional-grade diver. So, reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.